Good morning, one and all. Today we are going to learn about another important tire model, what is called stretched string tire model proposed by Temple and Von Schlipping. Of course, we have started looking at that model in the last class, and we have posed the problem of the physical phenomena of tire rod interaction, and that is going to generate a lateral force is what we were just started looking at in the last period. Importantly, what is the consideration? The tire is considered to be free rolling condition tire. So it is neither application of the tractive force or the braking effort. It's only going to have the lateral force. So when it is only side force is acting on a rolling tire, what is the physical phenomena that is going to manifest of generation of this lateral force, or it's called cornering force. So that is what we were looking at it. Do you have any doubt or anything that you want to ask before we proceed further? Anybody? Okay, that means that you have followed what we were doing in the last class, and we will continue with that, right? So I'm just going to share my Active Inspire board for the purpose of deriving further that equation. Hope all of you are able to see the screen. And we have seen in the last class, just let me brief what we were doing in the last period and then go ahead with today's lecture. So in the last class, we were making an attempt of understanding the stretched string model. So what is the stretched string model? A tire wheel assembly is considered to be especially a tire is considered to be a stretched string of a circular stretched string. So what is that circular stretched string called? An equatorial line. That's called an equatorial line. You could see here. So this equatorial line is defined as the intersection of wheel plane with the tread of the tire. So you get exactly at the wheel plane a circle. That is what is the equatorial line. If the tire is not loaded, you see the inflated tire is be a circle with a string under tension. So that string is what we are going to look at, is restrained by the lateral springs. The spring stiffness is given Ky that essentially represent a sidewall stiffness offered by lateral stiffness offered by sidewall, and entire tread of the tire is now constrained in lateral direction, and the other end of that is connected to the rim, and the rim is acting as a base. So what would happen during the condition of side force acting? There is a lateral force development. You see this Ky is responsible for offering a force on this stretched string, which will try to pull this towards this. And since the string is considered to be a stretched string to account the inflated pressure, so you are having your tension in this, which is going to be proportional to the curvature of this string. So that is essentially we have seen. So there are two forces that would be acting on an element considered on the contact line. So we defined last class what is contact line. So contact line is the BC, which is in contact with the ground in the contact patch. So you consider an element at a position x comma y from center of the contact patch, and then you know what is free length. The free length is the line from B going around and comes back to C. So that is other than contact line, whatever the portion of the equatorial line, that's what is free length. So this is how we just described our tire as a stretched string model. And then we looked at the two forces acting on the differential element. Consider position x comma y from point O, which is center of the contact patch, where in this y refer to a lateral displacement or lateral deflection of the best word is deflection, lateral deflection of the tire, right? Lateral deflection. So that would offer here an elemental force given by dFy1, that's equal to Kyy dx. And another force is because of the tension in the string, stretched string, that is given by minus Ft d squared y by dx squared into dx. This d squared y by dx squared term is because this force tension is proportional to the curvature of the string. So you see, it's proportional to curvature. The unit homogeneity is maintained here. So 1 by meter, meter goes off, and then you get this. So these are the two differential forces that are acting, and the differential form the forces acting at an element considered. So you know these forces will be acting on the string only during the tire-rod interaction in the contact patch. So other than that, in the free line, free equatorial line, you have these forces are equal to 0. These elemental forces are equal to 0. So I just add these equation 1.41 and 1.42. I have this equating to 0. So if you look at here, it is second order differential equation. So if I solve for y, I get my deflection. So this equation solution is given by this. It's easy to remember this equation because of you can see that if x, so x is what in the contact path, if x is equal to L by LT by 2, if I substitute here, what is that? I get x minus x, LT by 2 minus LT by 2. This term goes 0. So I get here y1. So that's equal to the point B from my wheel plane, right? That's y1. So if I put x is equal to LT by 2 plus LH. LH is what? Free length. So that is going to be till this point. Or it is minus LT by 2. If I substitute that here, what is that I would get? Would be this term goes off 0 and I'll get y2. So that is how you can easily remember the solution. And now this y equals this is the equation. What is the lateral deflection of an element considered in the contact length during free rolling of the tire is what we have just obtained. So if you look at, I'm going to continue today's class from here. So this is lecture number 7, and today is 17 to 2021. We're going to go to temple and one sleep. Stretched string model. Stretched string model. Right? Okay. So let's take that equation y equals y2 sine h of x minus LT by 2 by LR. So that's there in this whole bracket by LR plus y1 sine h of LT by 2 plus LH. That refers the point back to C minus x divided by LR, and you have in denominator sine h of LH by LR. So this is equation number 1.44. So this is what we derived in the last class for the free region. What is the deflected shape is what we have got. So what is that you have to understand in this again is in this model part of the equatorial line AB which is going to occupy position of BC, which is going to occupy position of BC. So just let me put that here once again. So this portion AB is going to occupy position BC. So you should have a common tangent between AB and BC. So that is understood, right? So if that is so, also you look at some interesting values of this. If R is the radius, that if you consider, if R is the radius of the tire, under normal condition, under normal conditions. And you see this free length LH, what we considered is there in this equation, this LH. So that would be normally given by 4.5 times R between this LH, between 6R. And your relaxation length LR is going to be R equal to radius times. So this is a practical observation of a typical truck tires. So you see that if I take these values, LR and LH values, and substitute in this hyperbolic function can be assumed to be an exponential function, right? Assumed to be an exponential function. Already that we have seen that in our model, I have made a statement earlier that you look at if this is my wheel plane in top view, and I take my contact patch or contact length BC here. This is B and this is C. And my entire tire further, it will be like till point A. And this A, it will go slightly and then it is going to be a ring if I look at in the top view. And that will be projected on this line itself again. Right? It will be like this. And you see here there is a continuity, whereas at point C, when as the thread leaves the contact patch, as the string leaves the contact patch, there is a kink formation. That means the discontinuity. So that would make this two exponentially decaying. So this point is say D, and then slightly it goes around again, it's form a circle in the wheel plane. But this is the top view that I have drawn. This is what is a top view of the string, the top view of the string. So in the front view, the same would be, imagine that it would be a circle here, right? I'm not drawing that here. So this is what we are looking at it in our derivation. And this is my contact patch O. And we have considered an element here, which is at a distance Y. So this is at a distance Y and a distance X. So this is X comma Y point. Right? So what is our objective? I'm going to express my Fy and Mz. So you know Fy is the cornering force, lateral force otherwise called, and Mz is self-aligning arm. In terms of Ky, what is Ky? It is lateral stiffness of the tire kilonewton per unit area, kilonewton per meter square. So we have seen typically it will be some 2225 kilonewton per meter squared values. And LT is the contact patch length, which could be experimentally determined for the chosen vehicle with the tire. And LR is the relaxation length. So relaxation length is what is now should be understood clearly. For that, let me take here, if I extend this line. So whatever this angle is, what is slip angle now? Because this is my travel direction. This is my travel direction. And I have my wheel plane, since there is a side force. And I see that wheel plane is not like this, and it is the path of travel is at an angle to the wheel plane called a slip angle alpha. So if this angle here, if you see that is not same here, so you see there is a gradual change in the slope, and the slope when it is equal to this here, this point is what I'm going to look at. So here if I draw the slope, so this slope is almost same as this angle alpha. So that's what we have to look at in this model. So that this length, whatever that I consider now, from this point D towards this length is what is my LR, relaxation length. And this relaxation length only will be equal to the radius of the tire typically, whereas the free region LH value varies from 4.5 to 4.5 times R to 6 times R of the radius. So this is something a typical experimental observation during this. So if these values, if I consider this equation 1.44 can be considered to be expressed in terms of exponential function. We can approximate this equation 44 as an exponential function equation. So how do I write that? Let me write that for free region as well as for the contact region. As well as I'm not going to write it for the contact region, because in the contact region you see this is straight line. In the free region only you should see that no, there is deviation. So I'm going to write now for free region near to the front of the contact patch, what is my deformation, and free region nearer to the trailing end of the contact patch. So for free region, near the front of contact area, front of the contact area is going to be, so how do I represent that? So for that, x should be slightly greater than or greater than LT by 2. So you know that this entire length here, is what is expressed by LT by 2 and minus LT by 2. Okay, from here absolute this distance LT by 2 minus sign because this is origin. So I go in this direction positive, in this direction negative, like that. So this is that. So total contact length is LT. So if x value is slightly greater than LT by 2, that refer to this zone, AB zone. So if I consider now this portion, then what is my y value? Instead of having it now the simple mathematical expression y of that differential equation, which would take care from B back to C, I am going to have now the expression of lateral deflection not in the contact patch, rather in the free zone nearer to the contact patch in the front as well as in the rear. So in the front it is going to be approximated as y1 exponential power minus x minus LT by 2. This is thin bracket divided by LR. It will be given by this, let's call this equation as 1.45. So you put in this x is equal to LT by 2, which is point B. So if I put that, what's happening? This is going to be 0, I get y1. So I get this distance here is y1. This portion is y1, whereas this portion is y2. Already we have seen. This is y2. So if it is clear, next step you could easily guess what I'm going to write is expression of y2, that's for force for free region near the rear of the contact area. So what is the value of this? Y2 will become exponential power. So what is that? I'm going to write here minus of, I'm going to write, I have to come to this point, that will be how? From here, LT by 2 plus LH. So let me write that as LT by 2 plus LH minus X by LR. And this is equation 1.46. So if we substitute X is equal to LT by 2 L hatch, this is L hatch. So this becomes 0. So exponential power 0 is 1. So I get y2. So that's how you can remember this. So this approximation is possible when you have these realistic values of LH and LR. And we are going to consider these 1.45 and 1.46 further in our discussion. So having this y, what is now idea? If I know this y, which is lateral deflection, and I know what is the lateral stiffness offered by the lateral springs representing your sidewall stiffness. So you are going to have the simple mechanics approach of the lateral force is given by stiffness times the deflection. That's what I'm going to use, and that's exactly what is proposed by Temple and Von Schipper. So what Temple has, their approaches are different, and their approach would converge to the same answer. So we are going to take Temple theory approach, and we are going to look at the derivation. So what are those two approaches proposed? Temple approach, let me just say what is it, and then let me explain what is proposed by Von Schipper. So Temple's approach. So Temple's approach, P-R-O-A-C-H. Temple's approach is, integrate the lateral force exerted on the tire over the contact length, right? So we have got an elemental force now. What is that? Is dfx, df1 plus df2. So integrate that in the contact patch exerted on the tire over the contact length, but also include an infinitesimally smaller length of the contact patch outside the contact length. So that's what is the proposed by that by Temple. So if you look at that, we are going to see this in the same model. If we project it, so you are going to look at the force exerted by tire, over the entire contact length. So that means I'm going to consider from the force coming from the tire. So that distribution, if you look at in this BC or in the contact area, it will be given like this by Temple. So what is that? If you see that variation is going to be something like this. So this is BC. So here I would have, this is skewed, I have my point O corresponding to this, but it is skewed, so I will have my resultant Fy comes here. This is my Fy. So this is the force exerted by tire, and you see the variations that would be varying like this, right? And you see what is this distance supposed to be? We have already looked at that is pneumatic trail TP. So this is the approach proposed by Temple. What is the approach proposed by Von Schipper? Approach by Von Schipper, LIPPE approach. Von Schipper's approach is, he says that to integrate the lateral force exerted by rim over the tire, right? So the force exerted by tire for the entire contact patch is what is proposed by Temple, integrated whatever that you have for a differential element through from end to end of the contact length. Whereas he has proposed this. So if you look at the force exerted by the rim in BC, it is like a bilge, like this it is. So this is like a symmetrical curve appearing, but it is skewed on this. The symmetry is not at the center of the contact patch. It is somewhere here, same as this. So this force is now considered to be this. This is my Fy. And of course, you have this TP responsible for this. So either you consider force exerted by tire on the rim or from the rim to the tire. So that's what one has proposed or derived using the force from tire onto the rim in the contact patch. Von Schipper is done in the other way, but both have converged to the same answer, right? So this is what is proposed by both of them. So we are going to look at now Temple's theory. So based on that, how do you get it? So it's very straightforward that my lateral force Fy is integration. So he says integrate it over the entire contact length. So what is my one end of the contact length? What is the position of X at C? It is minus LT by 2 and 2LT by 2. And I am going to integrate that now force, which is Ky. I take that out, so it's going to be Y minus LR squared d squared y by dt square into dx. So we have seen that the tension is proportional to ky or given by ky Lr square. Right, so that is substituted here in place of ft and ky is taken out. So ky dx is that offered by spring, and k Lr square d square by dx square into dx is offered by an element due to the tension in the string and the element. So now if I integrate this, I would get what is my Fy. So how do we go about doing it? I will just give you an idea. I leave it to you to work out. You have this integral formula, right? Integral uv dv equals uv dv minus integral. So if I have like this product rule, so uv are the two products where you have two variables here like x and y. In such cases, you have this is your formula. So u dash is derivative of u integral v dv into dv. So this is the formula. So in this formula, if we apply, you would be able to solve this integration. So I'll just show you a sample for doing this. Right here. Like this. So let us just have this integration splitted. So this is minus LT by 2 to LT by 2 ky. So ky y dx minus integral LT by 2 to LT by 2 k Lr square d squared y by dx squared dx, right? So this you have to do. So you can assume here as this, what is your u? U will be in this integration, you can consider u to be y and x, v to be x. So what is that you get? dv will be dx. So if I replace that here and work out for the first one, what is that I would get? What is that I would get here, right? So you're going to have it as this. So here if you see, this is going to be next step. You have this ky taken out. So it is simply integral y dx. So it's going to be so it's going to be yx minus LT by 2 to LT by 2. And this integration here you have to do carefully. So this is going to be uv. This is not at over. So this is going to be further ky Lr square dy by dx, and that's going to be minus LT by 2 to LT by 2. Right? So this is what you would get in this step. So what is happening to this portion is kr L square. If I take out, this is integration of dy by dx, right? So this kr L square, if I take out, integral of this dx is dy by dx, one order less. So that is what is of this portion, and this is this. So I just have to work out this now. So this is going to be ky LT by 2 by LT by 2 is going to be see again when x is equal to minus LT by 2, y is y2, whereas when x is equal to LT by 2, y is y1. So I have to be very careful here. So it's going to be ky y1 LT by 2 plus ky y2 LT by 2, and here I have ky LR square, and this dy by dx. So how do I get dy by dx? So that's where you have to look at what is that we have defined here. So I have here, this is my y. So what is my dy by dx? That's going to be is y e power exponential function. So here it's minus x. So minus 1 by LR, if I take out, it's minus y1 by LR exponential power minus x minus LT by 2 by LR. So in this, when x is equal to LT by 2, if I put, this is going to be 1. So I have dy by dx is minus y1 by LR. Minus y1 by LR. So if I substitute that here, it's going to be, first one is minus y1 by LR, and minus, similarly, what is dy by dx at x is equal to LT by 2 is this, what we have got. So dy by dx will be y2, the same here. So you see here minus L, minus of minus plus. So I get by LR into exponential of whatever is there here in this equation. So these two are substituted in this now, in this integration. So I will have here minus y2 by LR. So this is essentially integration by parts that we are doing it. So now I would be able to simplify further. Simple. So I have ky LT by 2 in this common, if I take out. I have y1 plus y2. And here there is minus, if I take out, that's become plus ky LR square within bracket y1 plus y2. So I can take out y1 by y2 in both common if I take that out. Ky if I take that out. So what is that I'll have? Ky ky LT by 2 plus ky LR square into y1 plus y2. So that's going to be ky within bracket LT by 2 plus LR square into y1 plus y2. So LT by 2 plus LR square. Is it LR square or LR? See, here it is by LR. So this LR goes off. So it is only ky, this is only LR. It's not LR square. So this is my expression of Fy. So I get my Fy now in terms of ky into y1 plus y2. That's into LT by 2 plus LR is what is my Fy. This is my lateral force, and let this equation be 1.47 equation. So we have already defined the equation till 1.46. So this is equation 1.47. Any doubt in this? So we have to also derive now an expression for mz. We have to also derive now an expression for mz. So before that, let me just look at, this is a rolling tire, free rolling tire. So instead, if I consider now a non-rolling tire for a non-rolling tire, you will understand why do we have to also consider for a non-rolling tire, what is my Fy. In case of a non-rolling tire, if I apply a side force, I pull this tire center in the lateral direction, and the tire adhere to the ground. But the lateral displacement would be now equal in the front of the contact as well as in the rear of the contact. So this y1 is equal to y2 is going to be only the same. So let us call that as y0. So this y0 refer to non-rolling tire, for a non-rolling tire. So if that is so, what is my Fy? In this case itself we can see y1 and y2 are different in rolling case, whereas in an all-in-rolling tire it is same. So I can replace this by 2y0. So the 2 can be taken out and y0 y0 into LT by 2 plus LR. This is LR. So that's my expression. So let this equation be 1.48. For a non-rolling tire, Fi whatever is there is changed into this when you introduce, whereas this y1 and y2 are given by an exponential function, which you have just now seen, and they are given by equation 1.45 and 1.46 respectively, that you see in the screen. Right? Okay, so now with the similar way, let us go ahead of solving for self-aligning torque. So now what is self-aligning torque? Mz. So Mz, how do you get? It is going to be a moment due to this lateral force about the center of the contact path. So you have your TP. So you have your, if I have my Fi into TP would give me the self-aligning torque. But as we have to derive this expression from the element approach that we have looked at, what would be the moment or the self-aligning torque offered by the lateral force developed by the element when I look at, that's going to be with this Fy into x, right? So this Fy is dFy into x, dFy1 plus dFy2 into x, and I have to integrate that from minus LT by 2 to LT by 2, right? So dFy1 plus dFy2 into x dx is what I'm going to do. So how do I get that? I just have to plug in the expression which already I have. So this ky in bracket integral LT by 2 to LT by 2, LT by 2, and I will have here this x, and what is the sum that already we have seen, that is ky into y minus ky lr square d square y by dx square. So ky is taken out, so it's going to be y minus lr square d squared y by dx square into dx. So this is what is going to give me a self-aligning torque offered by this. So I can call this entire thing as this mz is what is integral dmz. So I have written this expression dmz is what is here, right? So how do you go further? So the same what we have considered integration by parts. Look at that what I have written in the previous slide. So you are going to use this. You are going to use the same. So here, right here, you are going to consider in this case your u will be x and v will be d squared y by dx squared, and you proceed that with this. And you would be able to derive. I leave it to you as a homework, and I would finally get my expression. I have here derived, but due to time constraint, I ask you to go through this. So I'll get finally mz is going to be ky in bracket y1 minus y2, and I'm going to have this expression LT squared by 2 whole square by 3 plus LR plus LT by 2. So let this equation be 1.49, 49th equation. So I would have my self-aligning torque here. So you look at now it is in terms of ky, LT, LR and y1 minus y2 is there. So I have to eliminate this y1 minus y2. So if I eliminate, I can express this only in terms of ky, LR and LT, right? So how do I eliminate that? For that, I have already defined here in this, what is the slip angle? So slip angle is alpha. For a smaller slip angle, it is tan alpha. So tan alpha is equal to alpha for a smaller slip angle. So tan alpha here, I can be, it's easy. It is slope of this line BC. So I have this coordinate, I have this coordinate. So coordinate of B I know, coordinate of C I know. So I would be able to write my slope. So that's what is that, you understand. So this alpha equals approximately tan alpha for a smaller angle of alpha. And that's going to be y1 minus y2 by LT. Or it's going to be on the other side minus y1 by LR. Sorry, LR, right? So I can substitute. So now let us call this equation as 1.50. So substitute this 1.50 in these two equations. What are the two equations? One is my Fi equation, that's 1.47. Another one is MZ equation, 1.49. So putting this in this in 1.47 and 1.49, I would be able to get further my expression change. So what is my expression now going to be? I would have my Fy. So what is my Fy? So take Fy. So Fy would be what is derived? Ky into y1 plus y2 into Lr plus Lt by 2. This is what we have got. So this is 1.47. So in this y1 plus y2, so how do I put that here? Substitute that here. What is that manipulation that if I do, I would be able to do this. So let me take this 1.50, look at this equation 1.50. That's equal to alpha. That if you see, I can rewrite this as y1 minus y2 by LT equals what is that I had here? It is minus y1 by LR, right? So now bring this down on this side. So y1 minus y2 by y1. That's going to be LT by LR. So further, I can reduce this. So this is going to be minus 1 plus y2 by y1. That's equal to LT by LR. Right? Just a minute. It's LT by LR. This minus 1, if I take it on that side, it's going to be y2 by y1. It's 1 plus LT by LR. So now 1 plus LT by LR, I can replace this here by y2 by y1. I require, what is that I require here is, this is a change. And also I have this. So now here this equation can be replaced like this. 1.47 can be rewritten like this. So let me take in this y1 out, ky y1 out, 1 plus y2 by y1. So I have y2 by y1, this I can substitute here. And LR plus LT by 2. LR plus LT by 2 as it is to take LR plus LT by 2. So this equation can be further reduced to ky and this is going to be y1 And here y2 by y1 is 1 plus this. So if I put that is going to be 2 plus LT by LR into LR plus LT by 2. So in this I require again LR out. So if I take LR out in this, it's going to be Ky y1 by LR. Denominator what is there I am taking out. So LR if I take out, inside it's going to be 2LR right. So if I take LR out, so this is going to be 2LR plus LT, and here it is 2LR plus LT by 2, right? Small 2LR by 2. So finally it has to be okay, this is in product, so I have taken this, so I get this LR plus LT by 2. So now, see, this is going to be again very simple. See here, if I take this 2 out, it is LR plus LT by 2, whatever is there here. So if I take that 2 out, it is going to be 2 KY. What is Y1 by LR? It is Y1 by LR is alpha. So let me take this alpha here, and it's going to be this 2 is taken out, so it's going to be LR plus LT by 2 into LR by LT by 2. So it's LR plus LT by 2 whole square. And this side it's Fy. So I require what is this lateral force per unit slip angle, or for the given slip angle when I write this alpha down. So this is going to be 2 Ky into LR plus LT by 2 square. See, in this expression now, y1, y2 disappear. I just have substituted. So this is the important equation, very interesting, 1.51 equation number, where I have lateral force per slip angle. So for any given slip angle, I know what is my lateral force. So this is my expression. And we also had an expression the similar way. Look at your MZ, what we have derived. So here you have y1 minus y2. So this y1 minus y2 already we have in terms of this y1 minus y2 is this. So by substituting again this expression 150, using it I can rewrite this mz by alpha as ky lt within bracket lt by 2 whole square by 3 plus LR into LR plus LT by 2. So this is that expression that I get, which is 1.52. So I have now for a rolling tire, what is my lateral force per slip angle? What is my self-aligning torque per slip angle? What is the advantage of having these two equations? Now see, I want to find out what is my TP. TP is what is the pneumatic tread. For the given rolling condition of the tire, if I have these two expressions, and I can have now what is my TP is simply 1.52 divided by 1.51. So I will have this divided by this. So that equation going to have. So in this you see Ky is there, here Ky is there. So Ky goes off. I will have now, it is simply given by geometry aspect itself. So it is going to be LT by 2 whole square by 3 plus LR into LR plus LT by 2. So this derivation is a very interesting result it's going to give you. We can interpret advantage of these equations. So LT by 2 whole square. So when I divide one by the other, I have this is now happening. So this is my pneumatic tread. So I have got my pneumatic tread expression as well. right? Now, see, it is cumbersome. It's see, like we say that now we got an expression of Fy, Mz, and Tp all in terms of Ky, Lt, and Lr. And you know this relaxation length and Ky, this all determination, all these three values of the tire, rolling tire determination is involved some complex and experimental procedure. So through experiment you can find them, and that would help you to calculate what would be my necessary lateral force and self-aligning torque. In this process, I can find out this Ky and Lr with these equations, conducting that simple experiment. What is that simple experiment? I have to get my experimental data of Fi by alpha, Mz by alpha, as well as these two for a rolling tire condition that I get. I have to get it for a non-rolling tire as well. So what is that I get it for a non-rolling tire? I have my non-rolling tire expression. Fi is 2 ky y naught into Lr plus Lt by 2 we have. So that y naught, if I take it on this side, bring it on this side, so it is going to be Fy by y naught. So y naught is the lateral deflection of the non-rolling tire when I apply this lateral force. So that's going to be equal to 2 ky into Lr plus Lt by 2. So for the given tire on my hand, if I have this non-rolling tire data like this, what is my simple test? So load the tire and pull the platform in the lateral direction. You would get y naught. So Fy, whatever the force that you put, that force by y naught would give me this expression. So in this I have ky. So let this equation be. This is numbered. This is not given a specific number by the textbook, so let's not worry. So this equation, if I square on both sides, it's going to be Fy by y naught whole square. That's going to be 4 ky square into Lr plus Lt by 2 whole square, right? So this equation, and I have here my Fy by alpha expression from experiment, right? So here I have this equation Fy by alpha, and I have here this expression. So now if I divide this equation right, with that equation of this, what is that I'll get ky, because you see Lr plus Lt by 2 whole square, Lr, this goes off. So this equation, let's call this equation as 1.53b. So 1.53b divided by 1.51 would give me what 2 ky value. So I know this is this value all. So it is going to be independent of Lr. I have ky obtained. I can find ky. So from this ratio, which is that Fy by y naught square divided by Fy by alpha. By doing this ratio, what is that I get is 2 ky. Rest all goes off. So these two numerator and denominator values can be obtained from experiment. So I will be able to calculate what is my lateral stiffness per unit area ky simply. So ky can be found out here. Similarly, look at that ratio of the equations. What is that equation? Equation number 52 and equation number 51. So that is Mz by alpha divided by Fz by alpha. Look at in this equation. In Mz by alpha, in this expression, I have this here ky, and Fy by alpha I have ky. So when I do this, it's going to be independent of ky. It disappears. So I will be able to calculate Lr if I know my Lt. So Lt can also be found out experimentally. So I'm going to have my expression by doing this ratio right? So that's exactly what is my TP. This is exactly what is my TP, right? Because this MZ by F is that. So this is my TP, which is equal to pneumatic trail. So having known this pneumatic trail value, substituting in this the value, and I know what is my LT through experiment, I would have only LR in this equation, and I can find out what is this LR. So LR can be found out in the determinant. So that's the beauty of this. So TP is independent of KY, and this ratio is independent of LR. So they complement to find out KY and LR. And LT can be optical cameras can be fit in the thing in the track, and one can find out what is LT. Of course, when it is loaded, you have your LT. Rolling condition, slight reduction in that. So LT value is known in your hand. So this is how you would make use of this determined expression from Temple and Monshippi theory, which would further help you. So ultimately, we end up with importantly telling these values in terms of KY, LR, LT, and KY and LR are typically difficult to find out. So how do you find out them is to conduct some simple experiment. So what are the experiment? One on the non-rolling tire to find out Fi by Y naught. Another one is on the rolling tire, so that you will have your Fi variation as the slip angle is varying. So you would have Fi by alpha value there. Similarly, MZ by alpha. So this ratios helps you to get. So that is how you would be able to get KY and LR for the tire, and you would be able to use them in a vehicle's dynamic simulation study when you have to consider only pure cornering. So if I go for a steady state cornering where I don't vary my traction or I don't vary my braking force, so the driving torque, whatever is constant to consider, so I will have my Fi force develop. So you would use this KY LR values, and you can do the vehicle dynamic simulation, right? So what is that? And a constant speed when it goes in a circular path, whatever that you give a steering, the lateral force developed and the self-aligning torque could be simulated easily with these expressions. But now the question that I pose to make you to think, if I go with the same speed, then fine. If I increase the speed, that means I accelerate my vehicle, or if I have to suddenly apply my brake during cornering, I have to decelerate. How would I account them into my this model? So that is a limitation of this model. How do you account further is what we are going to see in the next period, and that would be proposed by Siegel, which will have a similar approach to that of what we have seen in a Julien's model. So I'm going to continue with the lecture from 11 to 12. We'll look at those parts, right? So I will end at this point this lecture. I will again resume at 11 o'clock.